The shocking texts that may explain a killer's motive. A roommate reveals all, and the truth is chilling. Why did he do it? Some hate can't be negotiated. The roommate told police that he had received messages from Robinson about the shooting, and he did provide those messages to police. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret until I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Roommate: you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson: I'm sorry. Roommate: why? Robinson: why did I do it? Roommate: yeah. Robinson: I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be talked away. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Kaylee: prosecutors in Utah describing some of the text messages Charlie Kirk's alleged associate said to his roommate. Those are text messages that an ABC News reporter described like this. It was very touching in a way that many of us didn't expect. A very close look into the relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who was transitioning, "my love," and "I want to protect you, my love." Kaylee: touching. Not the word that comes to mind as an assassin admitted to his killing, but the backlash he received pushed him to apologize, saying in part that he tried to show the sharp contrast between Kirk's death and the texts between the suspected assassin and his roommate, and he deeply regrets his words that he did not make clear for his audience. The apology came after Gutman's comments caused outrage, with Jesse Waters saying this absence is touched between text messages between an assassin and his roommate, with Disney Tickled telling his roommate how to plan a cover-up. This is not a love story. This is a cold-blooded killer blocking justice. Kaylee. As we continue to learn what may have led Tyler Robinson to allegedly carry out that deadly attack on Charlie Kirk, prosecutors explained exactly what they thought it was. A bipartisan group of senators from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman and Dave McCormick, spoke with Brett Baier last night, calling on the American people to tone down violent speech, saying there is no place in this country for political violence. It runs against the very idea of free speech and freedom. Any kind of extreme talk, left or right, is really dangerous. And Luigi had his latest point. This coward killed a father and a businessman just because he happened to disagree with his work. It's just unacceptable, and we have to absolutely turn the heat down. Kaylee. Harris. As the world heard those text messages yesterday, they probably got a chill, much like I did, thinking about someone, a suspected assassin, describing in detail what he had done. But an ABC reporter's first reaction was to call them touching. Harris. Look, I don't know Matt Gutman, so I can't say what he was thinking. I thought the apology was interesting because I don't think it solved the main issue. Why did you even think to talk about the love from a killer? Why does it matter? He killed? I think the point is just to cover the case. What I'm looking at here is you have a roommate named Lance Twiggs. We know his name now. You have a transitioning roommate who was having a conversation about his lover after he killed someone. That's what we should be looking at. So I can't speak for that reporter. But I can tell you that he must have thought there might be a place for those comments. And I think he's finding out that maybe that place ends at the threshold of his own door. Kaylee. I heard this and I couldn't believe it. I want you to listen to Monday. Tell Williams described Tyler Robinson as a torn child. Just a kid. Watch what we're really talking about. Hear me, because I'm going to shock you when I say this. We're talking about a love-torn child, a kid. This was probably his first real relationship, and someone was insulting the person he loved. I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally. I think this was an emotionally stunted person who literally, when I say it this way, just hear me, tried to defend his significant other, not trying to defend some ideology. Kaylee. Defending a significant other, except I want you to listen very closely to what the county attorney said and what the CNN legal analyst said on the same network Monday when Tell Williams made those comments. Listen. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented, and when asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the man, referring to Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. Kaylee. Emily, on the back end we were supposed to have the CNN legal analyst there, who went on to support the county attorney, saying that's not a partisan actor. That is someone who, when he talks about a motive, is speaking from fact, knowing he has a trial in front of him, and especially aware that every word out of his mouth can be used against him by the defense. so treading carefully to make sure he is absolutely tied to only what we know. The ABC comments and the CNN comments you played earlier represent a new, horrifying low. The only thing I agree with is that, yes, the alleged murderer is disturbed indeed, but to make this about the periphery, to make this about what I would immediately say came to my mind when I read and saw that is how often domestic violence victims receive a last text from their husband or partner or loved one that sounds like, if you will not live with me, you will not live with anyone. That kind of message. I will love you until the day I die, and then they end up being murdered. That is sick and twisted to somehow drag that into the callous, cold-blooded, premeditated killing of Charlie Kirk, which has nothing to do with his personal relationships on the side. Shame on those networks. By the way, that kind of tepid apology did nothing. That was a word salad and did nothing to escape the real meaning of his words, which were actually quite clear the first time they were said. The public and victims deserve responsible reporting and moral clarity rather than sensational framing that obscures responsibility and softens the reality of violence. Kaylee, you have the partisan commentators and partisan reporter making these comments. Caitlin Collins presents herself as a White House correspondent who only goes by the facts, but I don't know if she was asleep during the press conference yesterday because she didn't seem to find these facts. We don't have a motive yet. We are waiting. We heard what the governor had to say. Of course we know. We don't have a motive yet, really. We know what's happening, really. That's CNN's position. He just happened to fire the gun in celebration. Kaylee, maybe someone could send this to Caitlin, but I want to put this on the screen. We don't have a motive. This is the roommate. Why did you do this? Why did you do it, Robinson? Yeah. And he said quite clearly, I've had enough of his hatred. Some hatred cannot be negotiated with. That is a motive written in a text message. Cheryl, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, apparently, if you're Caitlin Collins. That's really troubling. Not just that, but the apologists we're starting to see. Not only with Luigi Manning, but also with Monday Tell Williams and the Gutman thing. I was shocked when he said that. You're actually trying to empathize and get sympathy for a cold-blooded killer who, yes, in those text messages said exactly why he did it. His parents have come out and said that he had become more radicalized. He had gone further left. And this is all in the evidence being presented by the prosecutors and officials in Utah. It's really shocking to me what has happened in our country. I'm still trying to wrap my head around where we are right now. Kaylee? Tom, in the media they always love to lecture. A favorite line of theirs is that we have to have a common set of facts. We can't live in conspiracy land, but it seems like they're denying a common set of facts. You deny the text messages and the mom saying he had a leftist ideology that developed in the last year. We have facts laid out in an indictment. Tom, yeah, and I think here's what I'm going to say about all these people. Monday Tell had his own take. You know, we have people trying to change the story. They don't want it to be political, so they will reach for anything. As for the on-scene reporter, I want to try to offer a little grace because I sit in a warm studio and we have these reporters checking into me all the time when I'm hosting a show, and they have such a hard job. I always think I'm glad I'm not out there during a murder scene or a hurricane because I would probably say the wrong thing. They always have to report back and sometimes add a fresh view. But this guy said something totally foolish. He apologized, and I will say this. I feel like he is marinating in political correctness, like so many people in our society. You remember the old Seinfeld line? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I see reporters doing this when it's a protected group. Whether a racial group or a sexual group, they say the attacker was gay. That's the good part, but he's a murderer. That's the bad part. So they try to mix it in. And I feel people are reaching for this, and it leads to absurd things being said. Harris, that was brilliant, marinating in political correctness. How about we marinate in the facts? This story reminds us facts matter more than sensationalism. Stay informed, stay aware, and don't let the narrative distract from reality.